How's it going, boys? As you guys know, once Amazon decided to shut down New World, after 4 years of non-stop commitment, we took a very hard hit. And after that happened, we had to make a decision on what are we going to be playing next. They worked through the decision and we started looking into some of the upcoming games, and one of them was Where Wind Meets. The other one was Chrono Odyssey. These were like the two contenders, but none of them was out at the moment whenever they announced that New World was going to be shut down. So the first thing that we did is we started looking at some of the games that were out at the moment. The number one choice that everybody was recommending me was Guild Wars 2. But unfortunately, in my opinion, Guild Wars 2 looks like shit smeared on the wall. The game might be amazing, the combat might be amazing, and some people might swear by it. But in the meantime, I cannot bring myself coming from New World, jumping straight into Guild Wars 2. Maybe I will try it in the future if things don't work out. But, you know, as long as I have all the games for me to try, I don't see a reason for me going into Guild Wars 2. And the other game that was pretty much coming out the next day was Arc Raiders, which we immediately jumped into the Arc Raider train, and it was an insane game. It is an amazing game. If you are into like extraction shooter, it is an incredible game. But unfortunately, after about 10 days, I did every single PvE mission, all 63 of them. I upgraded all of my stations, I upgraded my cock. And after I did all of those things, I kind of felt like I wanted a little bit more and I couldn't find it in the game. So we decided to give the Chinese Where Wind Meets a try, because since it was coming out on Friday and Chrono Odyssey is not coming out until, you know, the end of the year of 2026, we decided to give the Chinese Where Wind Meets a try to see if we were actually going to like it or not, and then make a decision based on that. All right. And oh my god, you guys, whenever I tried Where Wind Meets for the first time, the experience that I actually had was incredible. It has some of the most amazing system that we have never seen before. The game plays incredibly smooth. It's what I keep telling people that comes into the chat to ask me about the combat, you know, especially coming from a New World community. They're like, yo, Trick, how is the combat compared to New World? And this is exactly what I tell them. All right, the combat looks unbelievable, but it actually feels better than what it looks, you know. And I don't know how to explain that. Like, when you're actually playing the game, it feels so freaking good. It feels better than it looks, in the sense that when you're actually playing the game and you're into the combat, all of the abilities, the basic attacks, the weapon swapping, the dodges, everything rolls super smooth, like you're a professional gamer, like you've been playing that game for years. See, somebody that comes from the outside that doesn't know anything about gaming, and they see you just pressing like left click, they'll be like, ah, holy shit, that is insane. So yes, it plays super smooth. I had like over 200 FPS, and oh my god, what an experience. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people already have a negative view about the game, even without trying it. Obviously, there's a lot of points that people are bringing into the equation. If it is pay to win, again, no pay to win. It's Chinese. It's gonna be all weird. Gacha system. It's not an MMO, etc. Again, we're gonna be covering all these things, and I'm gonna cover the two main ones that I think people are mostly talking about. And like I was saying, first and foremost, the game is completely and 100% free, and it has zero pay to win. And any future content that the game will release, it will also be free. This was confirmed by the developers during the Western release video with a lazy peon. And now you ask yourself, well, how will they make money? Well, the skins that they have in the game are ridiculous. The skins are beautiful. And when I tell you beautiful, I mean motherfucking beautiful, okay? So people will 100% buy the skins in the game. They also have mount skins, like you can change your mount completely. You can go from having like a normal horse into having like a freaking turkey, or having maybe you don't find that cool. Myself, I find it cool. You know, you can mount a goose. You can be mounting like an ice freaking stag that jumps in the air, right? Like, the customizations are incredible. They also are selling ability skin. So whenever you do an ability, if you don't have a skin for it, you just do the ability. But whenever you have the skin and you do the ability, like a dragon is summoned on your punch, you know, so whenever you do a punch, a dragon appears on top of you to hit the enemy, start, things like that. So again, the skins, the weapon abilities, and the mounts, they look incredible. Second, people are afraid that it's not really an MMO. Okay, and the reason why they say that, well, there's a couple of reasons, right? And while where win means it's not a traditional MMO, it does have everything that we ever wish an MMO would have. Let's talk about why people think it's not an MMO. So essentially, the main story, the one that you're going to be doing, like the talking with the NPCs and doing quests and fighting bosses and fighting NPCs, all of this is just gonna be like a single story campaign, as if you were playing Elden Ring or any Souls-like game, and that is exactly what it feels like. The one that people are comparing it the most to is Sekiro, right? Due to the visuals, the combat animations, and style, and also having that Asian background. So the main quest is 100% a solo player journey, which it has a very rich storyline, amazing boss fights. And when I say amazing boss fights, just like Elden Ring level of boss fights, where the boss has different phases, right? Phase 1 is not that hard. Second phase is incredibly hard. Third phase is like impossible. And the game has dodges and parries and poise, like you will find in a Souls game, right? You can parry the boss attack and reflect it with one of your attacks. You can jump the boss's attack. You can dodge it. You can block them. And whenever you destroy like their armor or like their poise, then you are gonna follow that up with like a very juicy combo. So the combat, it is freaking incredible, super hard and mechanically advanced fights, right? Which these are mostly 1v1 oriented. And when you start bringing more players into this fight, it gets ruined, right? Whenever you're having a very 1v1 intense fight against a boss, and you're having like 3 other players in the back just free DPSing, like for you that might be cool because you're the one dodging the abilities, but for them that's not really a cool experience, right? So what the game does is they take that full experience and give it to the solo player experience, right? It's like you're playing either Red Dead Redemption or you're playing like Elden Ring, and you are fully immersed into the game, and there is actually hard encounters for you to, for some people it might be a struggle, for some people it might be a wall, but some people might be exactly what they're looking in a game. Now, with that being said, just because the story mode, it is a single player oriented, that doesn't mean that you cannot see or play with other people. Once you get to level 10, with literally 3 clicks, you can go from a single player experience and change into an MMO experience where you're going to be surrounded by the entire server, okay? So you're going to see people around you, people doing stuff, and people walking all over the place. Now, let's talk about on what makes Whirlwind Meets an MMO and why people think it's not an MMO. Well, besides the main story quest, the exploration of the game, which is a lot, by the way, you will be exploring this world like you were playing like Elden Ring or like Red Dead Redemption, like I was saying before, or like The Witcher. You're really going to go out there in the world and just interact with NPCs, kill secret bosses. The map will have a bunch of like hot points or like points of interest where you will go there for like a secret mission or like a mini quest or like a boss fight. So as you are playing the game and as you're exploring, all of this is also going to be played as single player, right? So the main storyline and outside of the cities is going to be single player. There's going to be some PvP that we're going to be talking about later in the open world, okay? But yes, it is that vast. The open world, it is beautiful and insane for you to explore. And since it doesn't have players around you, that means that the game doesn't have to render all of these players' ability and stuff, meaning that it's going to run super smooth pretty much for everybody. Now, since this exploration mode is a single player mode, the developers have created over 10,000 interactable NPCs with AI generated dialogues that can help you either become friends with them or becomes enemies with them, meaning that you can have all sorts of relationship with NPCs, all right? You can unlock hidden stores if you become friends with them. You can get rewards. You can start a hidden quest chain that you didn't have before, or that other players don't have because they haven't interacted that way with that NPCs. That you can really go deep interacting with the NPCs, right? So not having players around it's not gonna mean that the game will feel dead or that the game will feel empty, because the NPCs are moving all over the place every single time. So besides the main storyline and the exploration and the NPC relationship status, once you have, you know, done the PvE things that you want to do and you have unlocked your abilities, you can now engage into the fully MMO experience, right? And what are these aspects? Oh boy, dude, this is where it gets really good, because it is actually incredible. Okay, well, from the get-go, we're and what I mean is, from the get-go, is like the day one that it releases tomorrow, Friday. Okay, we're going to have rank 1v1 arenas, 3v3s, and 5v5 arenas. On top of that, we're going to have 30 versus 30 guild wars. We also have a sort of like an open world PvP, but for that you have to have committed a crime in the game. So if you commit a crime in the game, this could be anything from like killing an NPC or a player in town, or accidentally killing a farmer's chicken, or like breaking some of their fences. Like literally anything that you can think of that is like a criminal act or an infraction, you will be issued a citation. Yes, you heard me. All right. Which then you need to find a player that has the lawyer profession, and so they can take care of that ticket for you. And what happens if you don't take care of that ticket? Well, the game will then issue a warrant for your head, which a bounty will appear in the bounty menu board, right? Where bounty hunters can then accept these bounties and go and hunt you in the open world for amazing rewards. Just like in Elden Ring, whenever you get invaded, something like that. So if you are a criminal and you get caught by either getting defeated by a bounty hunter or by the police, like the NPCs themselves, because you're not able to run away from them, then you will be sent to jail. And the sentence will depend on your crimes, from how severe they were, right? And from there, you have like several choices that you can make. You can either bribe the guard, which at a high level is going to be so incredibly expensive that this is actually something that we're not recommending once you're like a high level. Okay, you can also do community servers to reduce your time in prison, or instead your guilds and your friends, they can orchestrate what is called a jailbreak. Okay, which is an instant activity where your friends will infiltrate the prison to get you out. And now you can do this in two ways. The first one is going to be like a sneaky, time-consuming way, where you have to do this with a team of like 3 or 5 members sneaking into the prison to get your homies out, right? Well, the other one is you go in full out and you try to kill the guards and get your friends out. That one sounds way more fun. The only problem is, whenever you go into the full way out and you start killing the guards, a notification is going to be sent out to the entirety of the server, where any bounty hunter that is in the area, they can come into the prison to help the guards, right? To help the guards to kill you or prevent you from escaping. And if you guys fail the escape, or if the prisoner gets knocked out, you will fail the jailbreak. And when that happens, congratulations. Now you and the homie and all of the friends that came to rescue him, every single one of you are going to be in jail now. So yes, that is pretty fucking cool. Besides the bounty system, there is a very similar system that is called like the assassination hit list, where you as a player, you can assign a hit for a player in the game. Let's say that you don't like them. Let's say that it's a streamer that you don't like, or you have a personal vendetta for them. So you can now actually assign a personal hit bounty for a specific player. The only problem is, if you are doing this personal vendetta bounty hit, you need to actually pay with real live money currency by like buying the in-game currency. All right, this is to prevent griefers, or to prevent people from constantly spamming hits list on somebody that they don't like. And so yes, if you want to send a particular hit for a person that you don't like, then you need to buy in-game currency and then do it with that currency, which I can see that being utilized sometimes, but it's not going to be the norms. So yeah, that is going to be the PvP the game is going to release with. Now let's talk about the PvE. So the game will be releasing with several 5-man dungeon and several 10-man raids, like any other traditional MMO. okay? Meaning that when it comes to PvE, you're going to have like the open world exploration. You can go out there, gather resources. You can also, you also have your dungeons, and you have your raids, which that is a pretty good amount of PvE when the game comes out. The game also has factions and professions. The factions aren't really at war with each other. There's not really like a better faction. It all comes down to whichever one is the one that you're feeding the most with. They all have special skins and politics and quests that go into it, and every faction has a leadership which is chosen by the people of the faction. Yes, the faction will take votes to this, assign who the leader of the faction can be. Every faction can be leveled up in a different way. For example, there is a faction that is the one that is considered like the PvP oriented one, that you need to kill 10 players every single week without dying. Now, not every faction is combat oriented on how you level up. Some of them, all you have to do is go into your guild house and take a bath, sing, play music with your teammates, and that's pretty much it. The other one, you have to trick people, and the other ones, one of them you have to be drunk all the time. And if you fall below a certain level of drunkenness, well, you can get kicked out. And yes, there is actually drawback and consequences if you don't put out in your faction. For example, the one that you had to kill 10 people, every week, if you don't kill the 10 people every week in this like a repeated offense, then your own faction can kill you because simply you were deemed too weak for their faction, right? And so yes, it's very important that you pick the faction that you resonate the most with. Okay, like I said, there's a total of 8 of them, so you have full freedom over them. There's even one that the community calls it the Sausage Party, and it's filled with like gay individuals, and their chat is freaking wild. And that is a good thing about this game being like Chinese. It's like, it's not PR'd, it's giving players full freedom on what they want to do. You can also get married in the game, but be careful who you marry, all right? Depending who you marry, it can bring you a lot of trouble and consequences. If the spouse that you have is not faithful to you, there's gonna be consequences to both you and your spouse, depending the faction that you are. You can also, if you want, you don't have to pick a faction, and you don't have to worry about the quests, skins, or consequences, but then you will be missing out on, all of these MMO aspects and activities. You can also swap factions, at any time that you want, but there is some consequences once you leave a faction and you want to join another one. But you can definitely leave a faction that you don't like to join another faction that you like better. Now, let's talk about the combat. And as I was saying before, the combat is freaking incredible. Everybody can use 2 weapons. You're going to have a primary and a secondaries, and this weapon will be accessible to you as you play the game. You will be able to get these weapons by doing basically every single one of them in-game activities. Now, the thing is, you don't unlock the abilities of this weapon by simply either playing with them or leveling your character up. No. You actually have to go to the open world and learn these abilities, okay? You're going to learn this move by either watching NPCs or by doing like a quest line or doing something like that. And that's how you're going to become better with that weapon. You're going to probably have to go to school for it, okay? So the game is going to be releasing, I think it's with 7 weapons. You're going to be having the dual blades, which is like dual daggers. You're going to have a katana, which is like a one-handed sword. You're also going to have a spear. You're going to have a rope dart, which is like the rope with a dagger at the end. You're going to have a fan and an umbrella. These are like the support classes. And yes, the game, by the way, is going to have support roles like healers. It's going to have tank roles, and it's going to have close range DPS and range DPS. Like, it does have all of those MMO aspects, okay? So yes, it's going to have a fan, umbrella, and it's also going to have a one big two-handed polearm looking weapon, okay? For PvP, you can do pretty much any combination that you want. As long as you are good at the game, you should be okay. For PvE, it's a little bit more pivoted into using specific weapon combination. And the reason why is because the game is going to have sets, okay? And some of these sets, they give you extra bonuses if you use weapons with other weapons, like an X weapon combination, okay? There's going to be a set that if you use the dual blades with like the one-hand katana, you get like an extra bonus against NPCs, things like that. So yes, when it comes to PvE, it's a little bit more pivoted into set. For PvP, you pretty much have have all the freedom that you want. Now, just because the game will only have like 6 or 7 weapons on release, it doesn't mean that you're going to see the same play style with everybody. Not really. The reason why is because every single one of the weapons is going to have 2 to 3 specs, like 2 to 3 different play styles. And whenever you combine these weapon specs with your secondary weapon, and then your secondary weapon also has like a different spec, you can create a very cool and unorthodox weapons and abilities combination that fits your play style. And on top of the weapons that you're using and the abilities that each weapon has, there is also 4 more abilities that these, I think people are calling it martial arts, which these abilities also shape your play style. And these abilities can be anything from a grapple into a throw into somebody, or into a homing kick, into you pull out a bamboo stick and you do like a full combo. Like there's so many of them, okay? They're also open world secret techniques buff that you need to go to the open world and farm these techniques, which it will even further your build, and play style. So yes, the game actually encourages you to not just simply level up and just play with those 2 weapons all the time. No. If you want to become proficient with 2 weapons, you need to learn the techniques for those weapons. If you want to even further your build, then you need to learn the martial arts by going to schools. And if you want to even further your build, then you need to go and learn the secret techniques in the open world. And guess what? If you want to even further your build, once you get to the late game and you start doing dungeons and raid and stuff, you can start upgrading your abilities and techniques that you have learned. So let's say that you are playing with a katana, and the katana has an ability that is a stab, right? That you learn that ability by being in the open world. Once you do dungeons and raids and you start upgrading that ability, now that stab can evolve into a stab, swing attack, and a kick in the face. And that is what I mean. The abilities can be leveled up to 6 different times, okay? And every time that you level it up, something else gets added into the ability. And that is where the grind comes in, okay? Every single day that you grind in the game, it will essentially be your character becoming stronger, okay? You don't grind money, you don't grind a resource. Well, you will be grinding resources to upgrade your weapons and stuff like that. But I have heard that it has taken people in China 3, 4, 5, even up to 6 months to fully have their perfect tailored build that they wanted, with the weapons they wanted, the set gear they wanted, the martial arts they wanted, the secret world techniques, and the abilities leveled up. So yes, there is a lot of grind to do in this game, since it's not pay to win. And also, there is 0 pay to progression, meaning that you cannot pay to progress in this game. And now that we're done talking about all of that, let's go ahead and talk about the combat itself. So how does it feel? Well, if you have ever played any Souls game, it feels exactly like a Souls game, okay? Your camera, you're like visually locked to a target of your choosing, especially if you're like a 1v1 or with like a boss encounter. If you're like in a large scale PvP or PvE, you won't really be locked in onto one target, so you can hit everything in front of you. But yes, the game will lock you in, and it's not like all of your attacks are gonna go into that enemy because you're locked in. You still have full freedom of your character. And on top of that, remember that this game is going to have a dodge, block, and parry mechanic, which it means you could defeat any enemy, players included, without ever being touched. If you are really good, if you become really good at the game, you can do these things. All right, there's also combos, right? That is how the game plays around. So the way that you do is, if the enemy is attacking you, you can do a parry and follow that up with a combo attack, okay? And what are these combos? So every weapon has like combos that whenever you start hitting, you can do an ability into another ability, into a follow cessation, and some abilities will chain with other abilities into a very nice combo. And this is what I was saying earlier, that it feels really good, because whenever you're fighting and you press one ability after another ability, it's not like the first ability needs to be done with the animation because the second one has a different animation. No, if you press ability number 1 and you press ability number 2, every ability flows into the second ability. And guess what? Abilities also flow into weapon swap. So meaning that you could press like 1, 2, weapon swap, 1, 2, and that whole thing can be a combo. You go like boom, boom, blah, 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 weapon swap, bing, bah, boom, boom, boom. And it's super freaking cool. And now, how can you get CC chain by these combos? Because this combo will stagger you. Well, if you parry, if you dodge, or if you block, your stamina gets consumed. So you need to be very careful with that, because the whole game, yes, you're gonna get hit, you know, once or twice, but that is not the way that you get killed. The way that you get killed in this game is going to be by these combos, all right? So you need to be very careful with your stamina management, because running out of stamina means that you're gonna get probably 100 to 0 in one combo if you really messed it up. Obviously, there are some hidden techniques that allows you to parry mid-combo, but again, that is if you have those abilities. And again, that is how the combat of the game is. You have all of those weapons combinations, plus secret techniques, plus martial arts, plus parry, dodge, and block, and combos, and combo breakers. Like, it is so freaking cool, you guys. The combat of this game is what is drawing me to it more than anything else. On top of that, it also has a player-driven economy and marketplace, all right? And with that being said, if you're still worried that the game won't be doing good, maybe because you are a weirdo and you cared about the numbers and stuff like that, like, oh, this game is gonna be dead on arrival. Well, the game has been out in China for about a year and is averaging on about 30 to 40 million players, okay? It is super popular in China due to the zero pay to win, because you have to remember, Chinese are not pay to win. That is like Korean MMOs. Chinese, they are more into selling skins and being really grindy, and all of the amazing system that the game has as well. Now, taking that in consideration, since the game has zero pay to win and zero pay to progress, the game, it is super grinding, okay? I know that I said it, but I'm gonna say it again. Don't expect that you're going to hit the end game and be fully finished within a couple of weeks, within a month or two. No, no, no. If you want to play this game, you really need to get into it. It is actually a grind, okay? But the grind is like a daily grind, like a weekly grind, and in the meantime, you can do PvPs and stuff like that, okay? So it will take a month for you to be fully upgrading your abilities, like I mentioned before, okay? And you can change your weapons and build at any given time, okay? At any given time. But you will have to grind for those weapons as well. You either have to grind the abilities, or maybe you want a different secret technique for that build, and now you have to go grind that as well. Unless you did them already, of course. If you already did them, if you already unlocked all of the secret techniques and stuff like that because you've been grinding and no life in the game, then it's gonna be easier for you to swap weapon. But as a new player, you know, I strongly suggest that you pick your main weapons that you're truly gonna play with at the beginning, because as you level up, you want to be upgrading this weapon, right? Then if you want to weapon swap at the end of the game, then you need to do a little bit of a regrind. So yeah, just you know, again, you can weapon swap at any given time, but there's gonna be a little grind that comes with it, right? And like I said, with all of that being said, I'm going to be playing where win meets like a motherfucker, you guys. Most of my friends in the community, they will be here with me where win meets, you know, like the New World homies. We will be creating a guild day one as well. And oh, did I mention you that you can have like a guild house in a house pretty much everywhere you want, right? So the way that it works is you can create a house literally in the peak of a mountain. And now, not everybody's gonna see that house in the peak of the mountain, but once you get close to that peak, a housing icon is gonna appear where people can check your house, or you can join your own house, or you can teleport to these places, right? So basically, you are not limited to where your house will be, but only the people that get close to your house will have access to it. And also, there is a guild stronghold that you and your guild mates will be able to build together. And this thing could be insanely big. It could be a literal castle with like hot springs and 1v1 arenas and PvE arenas. And speaking of that, the guild system is so freaking cool that it has this thing that you can have in-house 1v1 tournament. You can have an arena and people from your guild can go into the arena and have 1v1 tournaments. On top of that, you can have what it is like a PvE competition, where there's like a PvE arena where a player of your guild will go into the arena, and you as the guild leader, you can summon any in-game boss that you want to fight that player. And guess what? All of this has a leaderboard, meaning that companies and guilds, they can compete against each other to see who has the fastest like boss kill. And all of this is tracked between all of the guilds and all of the companies, who is killing the bosses faster, with what weapons, etc. So it is incredibly competitive, even within your own guild, with the 1v1 tournaments, and also with the PvE ranking system that they have defeating bosses, okay? So yeah, you guys, Where Wind Meets is a game that truly gives the player the freedom to build whatever structure they want, make whatever combat build they want. And if you are an introverted and you don't want to deal with people, or one day you just don't want to deal with people, you can always opt out of the MMO mode and just play the game however you want. If you want to play a single story mode and then on the weekends just do a little PvP or PvE, you can do that and have an amazing experience. If you are a more MMO oriented player, you can be inside of a main city doing all sort of tradings, PvPing, doing dungeons, taking bounties, and doing all of those things. I will be playing Where Wind Meets tomorrow. It's gonna be insane. I cannot wait to see you guys there. Remember that we're gonna be streaming live on Twitch and on YouTube, and that's all I got. Thank you for watching.